Alright, welcome back to Newsflash today. My name is Spencer Walsh. We continue to push on as we're about halfway through today's show. And of course, as always, Glenn Bradford is with us. Glenn, thank you so much for joining us here today. Really appreciate it.
Glad to be with you, Spencer.
As always. Alright, yeah. Handling the news one story at a time here. Anyway, so yeah, the Democratic Party opened a surprise legal assault on President Trump on Friday, filing a lawsuit in a federal court alleging the organization was a victim of a conspiracy by Russian officials, the Trump campaign, and WikiLeaks to damage Hillary Clinton's presidential run. So, what's the point of filing this lawsuit? It seems like he's under enough legal pressure already. Like, what will they get out of this?
Well, I was really interested in this. I think it's a smart thing to do, politically and legally, because and they did the same thing during the Watergate investigation too. Interestingly enough, but in Watergate, they did it 3 days after the break-in at Watergate. They had this civil suit against the committee to re-elect the president. In that case, the president was President Nixon. But now it's taken a much longer time for the DNC to take civil action. They've only done it now, well into this investigation. But I think there's enough information that has come out since the start of the investigation where they can have a pretty solid case here. For a civil case, the bar is not as high as in a criminal case, so there's plenty of evidence that points to connections between Trump officials and Russians, and certainly they're also after the Russians, even though I don't see how they can get anything from Russia, but they're mentioned as people they are suing, and they're also after Julian Assange and WikiLeaks and a number of individuals, Russians and Americans, and some other people that aren't even named. So what it can do is they can depose people. They can keep the Russia investigation in the limelight, even though it's in the limelight plenty enough as it is. In the Watergate case, it took about 6 months before the public really started taking any interest in it. The Watergate break-in was in June of 1972. The election was the following November, and it was basically quiet that entire time. It had no effect on the election. Nixon won by a landslide. Mm-hmm. So in that case, their purpose was to, keep interest up. When new information came out, the DNC would make it available to the press when they, added to their indictments and so forth. So this is kind of the same thing that could be happening here, although I think that, the DNC was basically the one that got crippled the most. The Democrats got hurt the most by this Russia thing, and they should fight back. I mean, the Democrats, should be upset, and they probably did have the election stolen from them because of this. So you can understand it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense they want to stop this from happening, but as I look through here, like the stuff that they're saying is a 66-page complaint. It uses the publicly known facts of the investigation into Russia's election meddling to accuse Trump associates of illegally working with Russian agents here to interfere with the outcome of the election, which is, I gotta be honest, there isn't really too much proof four that they've done successfully, other than really like the Trump Tower meeting, is the only one, the major thing I can think of, and that obviously it fell through. But so do you think they are about to do you think they're about to have some success here, or are they gonna get like some sort of conviction, or maybe that's not the point of this?
Well, I think in a civil suit, what they're after is money. They're after reparations, for the harm that was done to them. And, in the Watergate litigation, they won $750,000, which I guess a lot more money than it would be in today's money. So I don't know. I haven't heard what they're asking for in this suit, but I can imagine it's well into the millions of dollars.
It's not really, to my mind, listed here from what I can see, but there is some pretty interesting things. So the sweeping lawsuit startled Republicans in Washington, as well as Democratic leaders who were only briefed at the last minute about the DNC's plans to pursue civil litigation. Tom Perez, the chairman of the Democratic Party and the committee, had alerted Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi when they were just about to file. So Trump said in a tweet, he chided the quote-unquote obstructionist Democrats for filing the complaint and suggested that it could backfire if Republicans got access in course of the DNC's hacked email servers. So just heard the campaign was sued by obstructionist Democrats. This can be good news in that we will counter for the DNC server they refused to give to the FBI. And yeah, I hate to be siding here with Trump, but he does kind of make a good point. Like what here was hacked that was such a big deal, other than we know the Podesta email account was hacked, which if anything revealed collusion between the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign to try and sink Bernie Sanders. So what was it that was really hacked here for those, including me a little bit, who may be fuzzy?
Well, it was just the negative the negative press that they received by having all these emails being aired right during the campaign. Of having, Trump get up at campaign speeches and say, I love WikiLeaks, and then talk about the latest revelation from these emails. Even though the emails didn't reveal a lot of real bad stuff going on in the DNC, it was embarrassing enough, especially the stuff with, like you said, the Bernie Sanders stuff. And so just the fact that, this was a criminal act, that the Russians hacked the email of the Democrats was illegal, and the Trump campaign seemed to cheer it on. And I think they're trying to make the case that they not only cheered it on, but cooperated with the Russians, perhaps in the timing of the release of the hacked emails and things like that. And that's what they're really saying is what hurt them.
Mm-hmm. So just the fact that they were out there, and it just pretty similar to like, I guess they do kind of have a point. Like if there was. If the Trump actually beyond just talking about it on the campaign trail, or actually kind of coordinated with this to get this out, get some exposure to this. This was the original claim that started this whole Russia fury. But if there was some kind of coordination to make those emails public, to promote those emails between the Trump campaign and WikiLeaks, I think that would be pretty much what they were looking for in the first place. But, there is another side of the story of the possibility that this could have just been political inexperience on the part of the Trump campaign just pretty much mindlessly promote this just because there's something good against the opponent and just kind of show the aggression as well of the Trump campaign. I think there's also something, it could be something to my mind, to do with that.
Yeah, I just don't know if ignorance is a good defense.
No.
You also have, the Roger Stone coordination with WikiLeaks. We know that they were tweeting back and forth, and Roger Stone had some advanced knowledge that the Podesta emails were coming out. So I think that's what the Democrats are going to concentrate on. Things like that those kinds of coordinations, those kinds of cheerleading, and they're not just after Trump. They're after the Russians. They're after certain Russian individuals. I don't know how they're going to, recover money from the Russians. But it's like you said. I think you were intimating initially. It might be more of a symbolic thing. This civil suit, but it's just another thing that the public will hear. It just raises the bar about the seriousness of this thing, and another negative news story piled up on everything else. And it can't. I don't think it can hurt the Democrats to do this, and it shows. I think if you are a Democrat, you're happy about this news because it means that they're standing up for the Democratic Party, and they're not going to be pushed around, and they seem to be doing this in a very serious way. They have some good lawyers. There was no advanced leaking that this lawsuit was going to come out, which is pretty surprising in these days in Washington. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes and whether they can succeed or not. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, only as the many stories we are covering today, only time seems to be able to tell what the outcome to this will be, for sure here. So yeah, that is the very interesting thing. So we now head to New York, where Rudy Giuliani has an explicit mission on Donald Trump's legal team, and it was to help the president lift the Russia-shaped cloud over his White House and fast. An early priority for the Trump's newest personal attorney will be to resolve the question of whether the president needs to sit for an interview with special counsel Robert Mueller. Giuliani plans to meet in the coming days with Mueller and his team of prosecutors, and will also press them to swiftly conclude the portion of the investigation that deals with whether the president obstructed justice. So, I mean, do you think there will be any kind of